today. So welcome everybody. So glad to see you. It's this week number 6. We are live streaming, just so you'll know, on YouTube and to the universe and worlds beyond. So just be aware that we're live to everyone at this point. So again, glad to see everybody. It's week number 6. I can't believe I was hoping that we wouldn't ever have to go past week number 2, but it looks like this is a trend that's going to continue for just a few weeks longer. So we're going to see. I'm going to keep coming back every week until we get through this pandemic, I guess, and we can all go back to work. And we have too many other important things to do than to come and talk to Ron at 4 o'clock on Thursdays. So today's topic is the art and science of how to read your customers' minds. And again, one of the things what we try to do, oops, sorry about that. What we try to do is talk about things that provide information of things that you can use on the other side of when the pandemic finally recedes. So we're going to talk about things that may not seem of value right now, but if you're thinking ahead as to how you're going to plunge back into the workforce, into the work world, into the party universe, the wedding universe, some of these ideas I think might be able to help you out. So I'm going to start, though, before we go too far, I'm going to defer to Ben for a few moments, because one of the things that I know about Ben and Northern Lighting Effects is that Ben has always been very customer conscientious. Is it conscious or conscientious? Either way, he thinks a lot about his customers, and I know he's very proactive in taking care of his customers. And Ben, I'd like to kind of get your thoughts first on how you go about taking care of your customers. How do you read their minds, so to speak?
Well, first, it's just NLFX. It's interesting because we took all the vowels out during the last recession, so you don't know what we're going to take out now, but we'll just shorten our name to N. Save a syllable or two. I'll tell you what, if I'm being completely honest, Ron, I'm really not as smart as people think I am, and I don't have any clairvoyance. I don't have any ability to read people's minds. I am strong with the force, but there are limitations. And to thank you, Peter, for the gratuitous laugh. But truly, I think that probably the most useful things that I learned about, leading an organization, leading a company like this, and being a customer-centric person, I undoubtedly learned in kindergarten. And it's crazy to say that, but I think it's true. You just treat people the way you want to be treated. It sounds so simple. And certainly everybody is a little different, and I'm always surprised sometimes when I write a well-meaning note to somebody and, it's not received in the way I intended it. An example, the other day, I sent a guy a link for tracking, and he freaked out because I sent him a link, and he's like, I don't click links. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. But save for the, he goes, you might've been hacked. I don't know, but save for those minor exceptions, I think by and large, we all pretty much are the same. I think we all kind of want the same things, out of life, and I think if we treat people the way we want to be treated, that's probably going to go a long way. And I think right now, more than any other time, it takes a high degree of sensitivity. Of course, we're battling an impulse to push for revenue, because like everybody in this industry, we're getting obliterated right now. Our revenue is just about non-existent, probably like most of you. So there's a temptation to say, well, what can we do to try to drive some sales? But I think the truth of the matter is we have to be respectful of the fact that that's not the first thing on our customers' minds right now. So we've kind of shifted gears to say, well, how can we genuinely and sincerely be helpful? How can we help our customers get through this? How can we help our friends, because as you know, this is deeply personal to me. Many of you are friends of mine, not customers, but friends. And there's absolutely a difference there. I think you can be both, but it's, take it from the friend angle first and say, how do we come out of this thing together on the backside, whenever that is and whatever that looks like.
And I think you touched on a strong point of it, that friends, it's more than just a transactional relationship. Anytime it's just transactional, then if there's no relationship there, then it's really hard to keep customers loyal. It's hard to get them to keep coming back and to refer as well. Peter, I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend. So let's talk a little bit about on your end from the standpoint of a DJ. How do you go about reading your customers' minds? And I want to clarify here. Obviously, none of us can read our customers' minds literally. That's not possible. But there are ways in which you can. Pardon me?
I said, speak for yourself.
But there are ways that you can measure how well they're doing as far as enjoying the experience that you're providing to them. So, Peter, I'm going to defer to you for a few moments on this.
I think one of the ways that we can tell how well things are going is based on the kind of feedback you're getting throughout the process. If it's been a while since you've touched them and reached out to them to see how they're doing and how things are progressing, and you get a tentative, are we supposed to be doing anything email, then that's somebody who's starting to worry and has concern because you haven't touched them as frequently as you might needed to. However, if you've been reaching out to them and touching base with them on a regular enough basis and following up with things you say you're going to do on a regular basis, what you tend to get back is feedback that says, wow, I can't believe this is done already, or wow, this is already shaping up, and they're already starting to get excited about what's coming up just in your initial process leading up to the event itself. One of my big rules that I talk about in the professional process all the time is the idea of undersell and overdeliver. And when I meet with clients to do a planning meeting, I will tell them I probably won't be able to get you this updated paperwork and this updated checklist for at least 2 or 3 days. So don't expect to see it till Thursday or Friday if I'm meeting with them on a Monday. Then I go home, get it all done, and send it to them before I go to bed that night. So the next morning when they wake up in their inbox, it's there, and they're like, holy cow, I wasn't expecting that till Thursday. I've just exceeded their expectations. I've also cleared it off my desk so I don't have to worry about it backlogging and becoming something that now becomes a chore, and I made them feel like they're number one to me. So just having a plan in place to tell them it'll be here, but then deliver here and continue to do that on a regular basis is one of those things that as you get closer to the big day, they start to get even more positive and excited about what's going to happen.
Right. Exactly. Well, when I was thinking about how, to read a customer's mind or how to forecast or measure how they're feeling through the process, I came up with a couple of examples. There are actually a number of ways you can actually measure how the experience is working for them. In other words, when Debbie and I go to, those of you that don't know, my wife and I are huge fans of Disney World. And if we go to Disney World and we're standing in the middle of the Magic Kingdom, when we find ourselves kind of looking around, it's not uncommon to have a cast member approach us and ask us if they can help us find something. They're observing, they're watching us, they're wanting to make certain that we're not wanting for anything. They come to us and they're being proactive and asking, how can we be of service to you? What can we help you find? Another great way is through listening. Not long ago, there was a restaurant that opened in Kansas City, a brand new place that we had never been before. And my wife and I are both huge fans of onion rings. We love onion rings, but my wife is one of those people that won't eat an order of onion rings. She only wants 1 or 2. And so while the server was standing tableside and I was getting ready to order, my wife asked me, she said, will you share your onion rings with me? And I said, I don't know. And I asked the server, I said, how many come with the order? and the server said, I don't know, it's like 5 or 6. And I went, okay, sure, I'll share a couple with you. When the server came back with our order a little while later, she not only brought me my order of onion rings, but she brought my wife a half order of onion rings and said, here, I just wanted to make sure that you got onion rings of your own, so you don't have to worry about him sharing with you. And by the way, you don't have to share with him either. So that was just somebody listening to what was happening rather than observing and listening at the same time. Another great way is a great example of being proactive and making sure that they're kind of reading their customers' minds is GoDaddy. If you're on GoDaddy, go like this so I can see you. Am I the only one that's on GoDaddy? Yeah. Okay. So GoDaddy's got this thing that like every so often I'll let something expire on GoDaddy, whether it's a domain or whether it's, I don't know, it can be anything. and even sometimes when I don't let something expire, I'll get a call from GoDaddy just to check on me and see how I'm doing. How you doing? Got everything you need? I noticed that you let this domain expire. Did you really mean to let that domain expire? And if not, let me see if I can help you get it back, or I'll help you get it back. What else? What other needs do you have? Then it's not really a sales call. It's more of just what I would consider to be a welfare call. How do you feel about this? So okay, so there's we talked about, Peter mentioned surveying. Ben mentioned treating our customers as friends, trying to be helpful. I talked about observing, listening, and being proactive. If you got other ideas of how you can read your customers' minds, go ahead and put them in the comments for me. Put your ideas in there. What other ways besides listening to a customer, observing a customer, being proactive, and communicating with the customer do you have that you can offer in the comments over here? And yes, Jim, you're absolutely right. Zappos does this as well. Say 3-day delivery, you get it the next day. My son, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a quick Zappos story. My son, a couple of Christmases ago, placed an order, got like, I don't know, $50 worth of gift certificates from Zappos for Christmas. And the day after Christmas, he sat down and he ordered clothes that he was going to wear to a New Year's Eve celebration. This is a true story, by the way, for New Year's Eve celebration. Only thing is, he ordered $800 worth of merchandise from Zappos, a lot more than the $50 worth of gift cards that he had received. But his goal was he wasn't going to keep all of those clothes. Zappos has this real liberal return policy. As long as you haven't worn the merchandise, you can return it within a year of purchase for full refund. Plus, they'll even pay the shipping for you to return it. So, as you say in your comment, yes, they offer. If you're a member of their free rewards program, you're automatically upgraded to free next day delivery. And my son said that's one of the reasons he loves doing business with Zappos. It kind of spoiled him. So he went ahead and he placed this order. And when his order didn't come the next day, he reached out to Zappos and he said, my order hasn't arrived. And he did this through chat. And whoever it was he was chatting with said, Mr. Ruth, we're very sorry that you've not received your order. As you may be aware, there's been a number of winter incidents across the country that have delayed our couriers. If you would, please allow an extra 12 hours or so. If you don't have your order by noon tomorrow, reach out and let us know. So the next day at noon, my son had not received his order. He reached out this time and he got a hold of somebody by phone. And as he was talking to this young lady by phone, she said, she put him on hold for a few moments to check his order. And she came back. She said, Mr. Ruth, to be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea what has happened to your order. And she said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Rather than wasting your time by keeping you on hold while I try to figure it out, here's what I'm going to do. I am personally going to go down to the warehouse. I'm going to make sure your order gets pulled. Then I'm going to personally make sure that it gets placed on a truck. You will have your order sent to you priority, and you will have it no later than 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And she said, oh, yeah, by the way, for your inconvenience, I'm crediting your entire $800 order. If for some reason something doesn't fit, or if you don't like it, feel free to donate it to a local shelter or a charity. And obviously, I love this story because it becomes a story that you can repeat over and over and over again. And my son has told this story to I don't know how many different people, all of his friends who have become Zappos customers. I've shared it with audiences. It wouldn't be a stretch to believe that some of them have become Zappos customers. And who knows, maybe one or two of you may leave here today and go, you know what, I need shoes and apparel. I got to go check out the Zappos website. So I think that's just a kind of a great story. Jared, did you have something? I saw you raise your hand. Do you have something you want to contribute, or were you just agreeing with me? You can go off mute. It's okay.
I couldn't get, no, I was actually on Zappos ordering something.
See, word of mouth works. Okay, so let's go back to the chat. So Peter says, stalk them on Facebook, see what they like, bands, TV shows, movies, restaurants, etc. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to read their mind. They put every piece of information on themselves out there to share with the world. Danny, when a new wedding-oriented song comes out, send a link to it and ask if they've heard it yet. Beautiful. That's being proactive. Handling issues with other vendors discreetly when a client has brought the issues up in meetings to relieve their stress. Absolutely. I could tell you a great story about a caterer. Where are all the TV psychics when we need them? That's from Sue. Martin, hey Martin, and with me, I always chat about their kids if they have any. The reaction they do when they find out how many kids I have is always funny, which is part of my Facebook stalking campaign. I like that. Multitasking like a maniac, that's JR, or from Peter, I guess. My first meeting with customers, basically an interview. Dave, that's great. And that's so important to get to know your customers from the first, develop that relationship going. And I believe that the relationship building begins on first contact. So yes. And then Michael sharing Harry Beckler's 3 rules of customer service. These are all great things. And I would encourage you to, I'll share these chats with you when we're done here. So that you have all this information, but I would encourage you to find as many ways as you possibly can to be in the same zone as your customers at all times, so that you can measure, again, you can measure whether or not the experience that you're delivering is something that's working for them. I want to do something that we've not done before. I'm going to share a screen because we're going to talk about surveying here in a moment. Peter brought that up. And I think surveying is really important. So many people kind of poo-poo the idea of surveying because, hey, you know what? My customers tell me I'm doing great, and I get these 5-star reviews. 5-star reviews are awesome, but what if they were to all of a sudden start making 6-star reviews? What would you do to go from a 5-star review to a 6-star review? What steps would you take to fill this gap here? So we're going to do something right now. Let me share my screen with y'all. Oops. Also, let me share computer sound and do that. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the comments. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about, can you all see the screen? If anybody can't see it, say I can't see it. So I know. I'm assuming everybody is there. Okay. This is weird. Now I understand how Peter felt last week. I can't see anybody and I can't even see myself. So Peter, do me a favor. If you can see this, just say yes, so I know somebody's there. Hello?
Yes, I can see it and I can see you.
Okay, good. All right. Just want to make sure. This is weird. Okay, so we're going to actually work on what is the lifetime value of your customer. And I found a formula that I really, really like. So here's what I want you to do. Write down on a piece of paper. I'm not going to ask you to share this with everybody. How much does a customer spend on average per purchase? Now, I'm not talking about, this doesn't include any of the extras. This is the basics of your service. How much does a customer on average spend with you per purchase? So if you think it's an average of $1,000, then write down $1,000. Okay, next up, how many customers purchase per year? How many customers do you have purchase from you every year? Go ahead and take a moment, think about that number for a second and write it down. If you're not real sure, guess, because this is going to lead to a formula here. Okay, so if you take number 1 and you multiply it times number 2, that will tell you your total annual basic income. That's, again, no extras. The only thing we're talking about is the service that you deliver, the basics of it, and how many customers you do on per year. This is the total annual income. All right, so next up, on average, how much does a customer spend on extras? Uplighting, monograms, video, whatever else it is that you have that you sell, that you upsell as a part of your service. If you're not real sure, just make an educated guess. Okay, next up. How many referrals on average do you get per customer? How many people, in other words? How many people are referred to you on average per customer you serve? And if any of these questions are confusing, please feel free to open your mic and just tell me, and I'm happy to try to clarify for you. All right, next up. How much do referrals spend on average per purchase? Is it the same that that your customers that referred spend, or is it more? Is it less? How much do referrals spend on average per purchase? And again, if you're not real sure, just go ahead and make an educated guess. It's your business. You can do that. How many referral purchases are made per year on average? How many of those people that are referred to you, how many of them actually purchase from you on average? You could have 10 people referred to you, but maybe only 6 of them actually purchase from you. Okay, so now we're going to figure your total annual revenue from referrals. So that would be number 5 times number 6 times number 7. And that will tell you how much you make just from your referrals. I'll give you a moment to calculate that. So if you have if you get 3 customers referred to you and they all spend $1,000, and they all 3 purchase, that's $3,000. That would be your total annual revenue from referrals is $3,000, just as an example. Okay, moving on. So what's the grand total of your annual revenue? That would be number 3, number 4, adding in the extras, and then number 8. 3, 4, and 8. Okay, next page. So we'll carry that over to the second page. Grand total annual revenue, numbers 3, 4, and 8. What do you believe are the number of years a customer purchases from you? Wedding client. The wedding client only purchase from you once? Or does a wedding client refer you to their company for a corporate party, or to their best friend for a birthday party, or to their parents for an anniversary party? How many times a year, how many number of years does a customer purchase from you? So if you believe it's 5, that would be your number. All right, so what is the lifetime value of your customer? The lifetime value of your customer, that would be 9 times 10. How many of you are surprised to find a number that's much greater than what you thought it would be? Anybody? Jim? Dave? Yeah. We don't think about the lifetime value of a customer. All we think about is what's happening immediately in what we do. We're not thinking ahead as to how well we should be taking care of this customer because of the value of this customer. This customer, your customer, the lifetime value of a customer is worth like having a BMW in the driveway. You're not going to leave it in the driveway. You're going to pull it in the garage. You're going to make sure that people walk all the way around that car and don't touch it, you know, because you spend so much money on that car. You're going to take extremely good care of it. And the same thing's true with the customer. If you can sit down and figure out what their actual value is over the lifetime of their time with you, then you're going to do everything in your power that you can to assure. So it goes back to constantly observing, listening, being proactive, treating them as something more than just a customer. You're treating them as a friend. And then, of course, surveying. So let me, moving on. If you survey, go like this. Let me see your hands wave if you're surveying. Jason just raised his hand. JR raised his hand. Nobody else. I'm giving you one more chance. Anybody survey? Michael says he surveys. Martin decides. Martin surveys. I'm giving Martin a hard time. So if you're surveying, how many of you are surveying on a scale where you're sending out a survey and you're asking for people to respond on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 or 1 to 3? Okay. All right, cool. No, Martin's saying, no, I don't do that. Okay, cool. Martin, go ahead and open your mic for me. How do you survey?
I always use even numbers, 1 to 4, 1 to 6.
You use even numbers?
Yep.
Okay, so explain to us, what does that do?
Because if you use an odd number, it gives them a chance to sit on the fence and go in the middle.
Okay.
Like if your service is based 1 to 5 and you're getting 3s, you're thinking that's average. But if you give them an option of 4, it's either good or poor.
I see. Okay. I'm gonna have to wrap my head around that. So the odd numbers are fence numbers.
Yeah.
So you would ask them, you would make your scale from like a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
It's the metric system.
It's the metric system. Anybody else do it that way? Anybody else do that? This is the first I've heard that. That's a new one on me. Thank you for sharing that.
That's where there would be, where you're not actually asking them to rate an actual answer.
Okay. Chasen, I saw you raise your hand. May I bring you into the conversation? You said you survey. Tell me a little bit about what you survey. When do you survey? How do you survey? There you go.
I have, yeah, you hear me? I have it automated to send out a survey depending on who it is that's going or what it is that's being done. Sometimes it's just photo booth. Sometimes it's a high-end wedding. Sometimes it's just a corporate event. And so the contract or the survey will ask just 3 quick questions that frankly lend themselves to giving us high praise. And if they don't, then we don't send them a follow-up email that asks for Google, Facebook, Wedding Wire, not reviews.
Okay. May I add? Okay. So are your surveys, tell me a little bit about your surveys. Are they good, poor, excellent? Are they, or I guess it would be.
Yeah, it's not the 2, 4, 6, 8, but it's basically more of like on a 1 to 10, what would you give us? And it's 1 to 10, and then why? And it's open-ended questions instead of yes, no, after they give us the click of yay or nay. We've never had a negative. So it's like, we just kind of prep them to say yes. And then once they've said yes a little bit, then we follow up with an ask. But I don't want to give them the links to review if I don't think that they're going to give positive reviews. So I don't, does that make sense? I don't spur them to action until I know what their action will likely be.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chasen. Thank you for sharing. Michael Linstra, how about you, buddy?
Yes. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you? You said you survey. I'm sorry. I was going to ask you.
Okay. Were you asking kind of what type?
You're not reading my mind, Michael. Come on.
Were you asking what type of survey that I sent?
Let's talk. Yeah. What type and how do you go about surveying?
Well, I try to do a follow-up. I belong to a little bit of a different program here where we send them a link and it gives them, tell us, how we did, and it's a thumbs up or it's a thumbs down. And if it gets a thumbs up, then it takes them to our survey page and lets them fill out the survey. If it's a thumbs down for whatever reason, I haven't got one of those yet, but then what happens is it goes to, we're sorry, we did not meet your expectations. Could you please contact us and discuss where we failed here. But once they get to the survey, then it's more of an open-ended questions rather than a numerical, such as, how did we meet your expectations? Way more than expected, better than expected, as expected, didn't meet expectations, and kind of down the line like that. Again, compared to other services, how do you feel we rated? We were, by far the best, one of the best, met our expectations again. So we're not giving them a numerical, but we're giving them some more open-ended questions. And then in each one of those questions, there's a comment box where they can actually put a comment in. at the end of the question.
Okay.
And then, of course, we ask for comments at the end of the survey, which then, of course, we can use. If we get some great comments, we can use those to post to our social media, put on our website, whatever, as testimonials.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Here's what I want you to do. All of you, if I may ask, what I'd like for you to do is in the comment section, what I'd like for you to do is think about a business that has exceeded your expectations. Any business. It doesn't matter whether it's service business, retail business. It could be Ben's business. Any business that exceeded your expectations, because I know Ben has exceeded my expectations on more than one occasion. What I want you to do in the comment section, if you would, is write down, add 3 adjectives. Just write out 3 adjectives that best describe that experience. What was that experience like? Any 3 adjectives. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for the barbecue sauce.
You're welcome. Don't tell people I did that because they'll want you to share.
Well, when we can see people again, you're all welcome to come hang out at my house. It is the first nice day here, by the way.
I know. I'm the same way.
It's gorgeous out right now. It's like 50 something. It's beautiful.
So some great responses. Keep them coming. Dry cleaner called today, Jim says, and asked how we were doing. Touching, kind, smart. Peter, amazing, hilarious, and mind-boggling. I think he means mind-boggling, maybe. Or no? Okay, mind-boggling. Good, Peter. We need spell check on the chat. Wait, there's barbecue sauce? It's from Alan. Loyal company, friendly, reliable service, cost affordable. Okay, so here's another. All right, so these businesses that have exceeded your expectations. What I'd like for you to do now in the chat, if you would please, is I want you to add 3 adjectives that best describe how those experiences made you feel. 3 adjectives that describe how those experiences made you feel. Even if you didn't contribute to the first question, any business that exceeded your expectations, how do those 3 adjectives, if you can only come up with 2, that's fine. How it made you feel. Kick-ass, fun, amazing. I do not know how to spell sauce. Peter added to YouTube. Special, appreciated, valued, considered, valuable, satisfied, happy, welcoming, rewarding, fulfilling, special, comfortable, appreciated, valued, special, cared for, valued. Yes. But here's the cool thing about these adjectives that you're adding here. These are the same things you want your customers to say about your business. I love the idea of anybody that wants to, anybody that surveys. I love that you're surveying. But a 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10 doesn't really tell you anything. A 6 doesn't tell you anything other than you were better than a 4 if 10 is the highest. You were better than a 4, not good enough to make an 8. A 1 through 10 doesn't tell you, if you get a 5, it tells you were average. Nobody wants to hear that they were average. If you're asking to tell you you're good, poor, excellent, that it still doesn't tell you anything. So my suggestion to you is, kind of going back to what Mike was talking about, when you formulate your surveys, form them so that you're getting people to add with open-ended questions, so they're saying these words. These words are powerful to people that are looking at them. I want my customers telling others that I made them feel appreciated and valued and special and cared for and invigorated and surprised and blown away and fun and rewarding. And I mean, these are what's going to it's going to be the tipping point for a lot of customers as to whether or not they choose to contract you over someone else. I'm going to share my screen with you again. And this is spooky, not being able to see, but here, okay. So, whoops. All right, so share, I think. All right, I'm assuming everybody can see this. All right, so we're going to go to the. Oh, this.
That almost killed me. Oh, boy, what is this?
Okay. I was going to share a video with you, but I'm going to do this. All right. So that was my video back, my thing. How did that happen? Stay. Okay. I screwed up, I think, in how I set this up. So I apologize. All right. So this is my survey. Watch quick. It's coming again. There it is. Let me stop sharing. Let me see if I can fix that. I'll fix it. This is what happens. Okay, let's do it this way.
Screen grab, Ron.
What did you say?
Screen grab.
Screen grab it. Either that or I could just take out the transition. There we go. All right, so now we got it. Slideshow from current slide. Whoops, back. All right, so here we go. So this is, all right. Can you see if I do it this way? This is embarrassing. Let me see if I can enlarge this. There we go. Should be able to see this, I would think. This is a copy of my survey, and actually I'm going to give credit where credit is due because Peter turned me onto this survey a long time ago. Sorry, I'm going to have to present it to you this way. But this is just a piece of my survey. And if you look at the wording of this survey, these are the things that are different, that speak to the emotion.
We can't see it, Ron.
You can't see it? Oh, well then.
Nope, not on.
All right, then hang on. Thank you, Peter. Let me try it again. All right, we'll do it this way. And now can you see it? Yes?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. So this is just a piece of my survey. It's not the entire thing, but if you notice, there's a huge difference between asking a customer to say whether they thought I was a 1 through a 10 or good, fair, or excellent. This is a way of actually getting them to talk about the emotion that they felt, because customer experience is built on a foundation of emotion. This to me is extremely important, and it also will touch on the emotion of the individuals that are looking at it. If you're sharing this survey, showing this survey as an example during a sales presentation, I often will put my surveys in front of my customers and ask them if they'd like them. More than welcome to take a look at it. But the one part of this survey that you can't get from a good, fair, poor, 1 through 10, or any of those, is the bottom one here, value comparison. If a customer and I think Peter, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter added to his value comparison, he put way more than what we paid for. And the purpose of the value comparison is if everybody is telling you that you're way more than what they paid for, then they're telling you that you are deserving of a raise. And if they're telling you that you're deserving of a raise, then you should listen to them. This is an opportunity for you to be able to tell whether or not you're charging the right amount of money. I love it when people say, well, how much should I be charging? Well, your customers are going to tell you how much. It's not just a matter of how much should you be charging. Your customers will tell you what the value was for the service that you delivered. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions on any of that?
Ron?
Peter, go ahead.
If you can put that back up.
Okay. Maybe easier said than done. Okay, there we go.
All right. So overall success, market comparison, and value comparison. I have to give credit where credit is due. I got those 3 from Rebecca Farrell way back in the day. Like when we first talked about establishing a mentor relationship, it would have been probably the late 90s. And she suggested that I put those on my surveys. The value comparison, I had more than we paid for, exactly what we paid for, less than we paid for. And after getting so many that said more than we paid for, I decided to add the way more. So proved very helpful because I found out that a large portion of my clients felt like I was giving them way more than they paid for. So I decided to give myself way more of a raise than I had before. Favorite moment is one that I learned from Randy Bartlett. I got to give credit where credit's due on that one. I think that's a fantastic question. And my favorite moment used to always be the grand entrance. They'd always talk about the fun we had with the grand entrance. But I started noticing lately that they were filling that one out with some of the things that we did that weren't on the agenda. And that's what got me thinking about the improv training and paying attention in the moment, because there were unexpected moments that we were able to make really fun and memorable moments out of that were not part of anybody's plan. And those wound up on the favorite moment list. So it really showed me how much value there was in being engaged with what's happening and being ready to create something out of totally nothing. So they're great questions. They're very valuable. And I've changed mine on market comparison. Instead of compared to other similar services, mine just asked whether or not I'm better or worse than Randy Bartlett.
Or me. That's kind of funny. And are the responses yes? I mean, I just kind of.
Well, I actually, Randy and I have had this competition going back and forth for years. In one of the seminars we did together, we played a clip of a bride calling the next day and saying she couldn't leave for her honeymoon without calling to thank me. And so about 2 years later, Randy played one for me, and it was a bride saying, I couldn't go to sleep tonight without thanking you for doing such a great job at my wedding. And it turns out she'd asked him if there was anything you could do. He's like, yes, when you get to your hotel room, call and start with this. And that way my phone call will be better than Peter's. And so I wanted to throw the gauntlet back at him, even though he's retired. I wanted to find out what's the longest term after a wedding he's gotten tipped, because last week I got a PayPal tip of $50 from a bride I did a wedding for 2.5 years ago. She was looking through her wedding stuff and was just amazed once again at all the work Audrey and I had done, and decided to send us $50 during this craziness so that we could order in a meal just to say thank you one more time. And she'd already tipped me twice after the wedding. So that was the third tip 2.5 years later. I'd like to see how far out Randy Bartlett's been tipped. I'm just saying.
So if you would like a copy, yeah, Martin, go ahead.
Just to clear it up there, when I was saying earlier that I use even numbers, I don't actually use numbers 1 or 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It would be an even number of options.
Oh, I
in
see.
The questions that's been asked.
Ah, okay. I misunderstood. I apologize for that. So if you want a copy of my survey, you are welcome to it. I will share the whole thing with you. Peter has given me permission to do that because I got it from him. And yes, and Nick has got Randy on his shoulder over there. If you would like a copy of my survey, just send me an email, ron@ronruth.com, and I will be happy to share the entire thing. I'll even share the cover letter that I send to my customers to encourage them. Just out of curiosity, how many of you actually mail a survey still? Anybody? Am I the only? Anybody still mail a survey? Peter does. Alan, I think sometimes. What do you think, Alan? He's trying to what's mail? I think is what he's asking. I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's mail? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, we need more people to mail right now. Keep post office going. The reason I encourage mailing is because it actually makes people, brain to hand and emotion kind of makes people think, and I feel they're more honest when they use brain to heart to hand and they fill out a survey rather than just doing it like this. It's too easy just to fill this one, I'll do this, I'll do that. They're not really, I don't feel that they're feeling the same emotion. If you're happy with doing it by online, that's great. But if you have an opportunity just to try it by mail, I would encourage it. It doesn't cost, I mean, it costs you a stamp, and I send them an envelope with a return address on it, and a stamped envelope that they can just return it directly to me, just to make their lives easier. Want to make sure I covered everything. This went much faster than what I anticipated. All right, so I'm going to open up the floor for a few moments. Let's go with questions. What question? Oh wait, before I do that, sorry. While people are asking questions for next week, I want to be addressing, Ben and Peter and I want to be addressing whatever your particular needs are. What do you want to talk about? So if there's something you want to talk about, please put it in the comments section, and either Peter or Ben or I will lead next week and give you the information that you're looking for. So put in the comments what is topics that are of interest to you, and we will hopefully find people. I'm trying to get a wedding planner to join us that will talk about what she thinks post-pandemic trends might be, which is all speculation at this point, but I thought it might be kind of interesting to get the juices flowing on what the other side of this is going to look like. So back to, if you have questions, go ahead and open your mics and let's chat. Yeah, go ahead and open your mics. You don't have to raise your
I have one comment on the surveys, Ron.
Okay.
If I could. I don't believe an occasional, bad survey is really a bad thing. First, I think, depending on who you survey, if we kind of refer back to Vicky Musty's, color personalities, the survey that you might get back from someone that may be a blue or a red may be different than a yellow or a green, if you follow the color personalities at all. But I also think sometimes if you don't get a less than glowing review back, it almost gives you a little bit more motivation. It makes you a little sharper sometimes, I think.
I think it was, and I want to say it was Bill Gates. Somebody, I believe it was Bill Gates, that said, a bad review is an opportunity for improvement. If somebody gives you, criticism, it's actually, that's to your advantage, because it gives you clear instruction on how you can improve for future clientele. Something else about these surveys too is that during this downtime, one of the things that Peter suggested to me when I first started sending out surveys was to send them back 5 years. Go back 5 years, send them out to customers that you've worked with 5 years ago and ask them to fill them out, and then just wait for them to come in and don't start today. I mean, you can, tomorrow, you could start sending surveys out to your past customers and get their feedback. One of the things that I learned through surveys right off the bat is that my customers appreciated more about my organizational and planning skills than they did about my performance skills, which didn't offend me at all, but it became more of my marketing on how I'm going to help make sure that this thing is so organized that nothing could possibly go wrong, which the majority of my brides were willing to pay big bucks for that. So
I've always kept this. It's actually from Marshall Fields, and he said, the positive side of complaints: those who buy support me, those who come to flatter please me, those who complain teach me how I may please others so that I will buy more, or that I will buy. Only those that hurt me, who are displeased but do not complain. They refuse my permission to correct my errors.
Yeah, I mean, we want to say that people. We want to say that it's so easy to complain about people that complain, but if they're complaining, then it should be an immediate red flag that you need to go back and look at the process that you're delivering. A nice family photo, Jim. Who else has got a question? Nick is having fun doing shadow puppets, I think. I'm not sure. Who else has got questions for me, Greg? That's it? Wow. God, I can't believe I was that thorough. Okay, so I'm looking at some of the suggestions for next week. We will take these. I will look at these. Ben, are you still with us? I don't know if Ben bailed for a few minutes.
Somebody better get a screenshot of all the Randys.
Wait. If anybody else has got a Randy picture, put it up. I will give you a moment to
I was just grabbing video of it all. It wasn't shadow puppets. I was videoing the whole thing just for him.
I don't have a Randy picture on my Peter. What? You're terrible. Anybody else got a Randy picture they want to add? You can go to his website, I guess, his Facebook page, and pull one. Yeah, Randy showed up in so many places. Right. I'm going to make all right, everybody smile. I'm going to do a screenshot. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right. I will, we'll make that our thumbnail for this video. All right. Thank you again, all of you. One last thing before we go. Again, I'm working on a project. I'm working on a book. Okay. It's called How to Speak Fluent Wild, the Language of High Spending, Loyal, Raving Customers. Right now, I'm also using that book as an opportunity to try to help first responders and medical professionals. And the way this works is really easy. I'm asking wedding professionals and DJs, everybody in the wedding and event industry, to give me a story about some way that your business wows your customers, exceeds expectations. For every 10 stories I receive from wedding professionals, I will donate $50 to Project Cure, which is an organization that makes certain that first responders and medical professionals get the PPE, the protective gear that they need, especially right now. And $25 will buy, just a $25 donation to Project Cure will buy at least one box for those professionals. A $500 donation buys a pallet. I'm working on getting up to that $500 donation. So that means I need 100 stories in order to make that happen. There's like 20 of you right now that could very easily, I know you're all very, very good at what you do. You join these conversations because you want to continually improve. It's not that you're not already experiencing or exceeding the expectations of your customers. It's that you want to continually strive to exceed those expectations. So I'm asking if you would like to participate. What I would encourage you to do is just go to my Facebook page. And right pinned at the top of my Facebook page is an event. I made it as an event because I'd like to have all the stories by the end of the month, by April 30th, if at all possible. And it gives you the link to the page where you can go to submit your story. So, Ben, do you have any closing words you'd like to offer? And then Peter, I'll get to you.
I do. First, a story. And I sent this to Alan. I meant to send it to the whole group. Sorry, Alan, I had you on private. I actually have three things. If you'll bear with me, I have three quick things. So one is, we talked in the beginning about friendship, and I said in the chat, you can't fake sincerity. And friendship is a two-way street. And again, you can't fake that sincerity. And I don't see Greg on here anymore, and that's just as well, because I'm going to talk about him. I have on my bedstand right now a book that he sent me. And I think that's just the greatest of sincere gestures when somebody, even if it's just, I love when people see goofy Star Wars memes and tag me, because it's a sincere gesture, and sending a book is obviously the next level. So big ups to Greg for that. Two, another example of somebody who absolutely walks the walk more than any human being I've ever met. And he is in the chat, and that's Jim Cerrone. I remember, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 100 years ago, we were speaking somewhere together. And I think I was the warm-up band and he's the headliner, so I was on before he was. And nonetheless, he comes over to me and he says, are you okay? Are you doing good? Do you need anything? Can I get you anything? How are your batteries for your wireless mic? I mean, that's, but there it is. That's the perfect host, being who he is and being sincere about, what it is he does and how he does it. And to that end, I'm not Jim's customer. Actually, Jim's my customer, and I'm grateful, beyond grateful for that. But the fact is, he's made that impression on me. If I were buying what he's selling, I'd be buying it still, Actually, I guess I could buy some books or something probably. But, point being, those are the kind of impressions that you leave with people forever, and you can't fake the sincerity. So there's my two, messages. And then I'll just say the last thing that I was going to mention. Yes, I see your book, Danny Brewer. Love it. This doesn't really help you guys and gals much, but it's about being sincere to our customers of all kinds. 2 years ago in April, we opened a small music store in our town, which, by the way, is financially a terrible idea. But we did so because we knew no, it is, believe me, it's a terrible idea. I thought selling DJ gear was a bad financial move. Having a music store is even worse. But our small little town wasn't going to have one. And we have a good, arts program in the school, and that was going to suffer when the only little music store we had in town closed. So we picked up the ball there. And our business is able to be open in a limited capacity right now because of our work with the military and healthcare and broadcast, none of which includes school band or guitar players and any of that. So what we have just done, and the reason I had to step out of the meeting, is we have successfully partnered with a local grocery store which is regularly receiving customers and has the protocols and things in place for that, to allow for local pickup options for school band parents to get those supplies at the grocery store from us now. So we'll basically box the order, bring it over there, and they can pick it up at their customer service counter. We will make nothing on that. I mean, maybe a tiny amount selling, you know, $2 pack of reeds or $5 pack of guitar strings, but bottom line, you know, it's about being sincere to your customers. So I don't know. That's probably nothing, you know, overwhelming. And again, as I look at the people on the screen, I think, what can you learn from me about customer service? I see some of the best people at it. You know, I know you and I watch you and I see what you do. And again, many of you are friends of mine, and I'm grateful for that. So I will end with an appeal, Ron.
Okay.
When you need gear again, please remember us, because we're going to need the help getting out of this thing too. And when your friends need gear, please refer us, because we're going to need the help getting out of this thing. We've kept our entire staff on payroll, and our SBA loans, I'll be 74 when that loan's paid off. So just think about that. So there's an impassioned appeal, please.
I think that's a legitimate appeal. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's not just us watching now. We'll have lots of people that will be tuning in and watching this video. And yes, I would encourage everyone. And Ben has been very gracious to be a sponsor, if you will, of these weekly chats. And anything we can do to repay the favor would be awesome. And plus, he also likes barbecue sauce. So, but you can't pay him in barbecue.
I have to say, Ron, you're the one who's gracious to call us a sponsor. So thank you for that. I appreciate I don't know if what we're doing amounts much to sponsorship, but it means a lot. You know, somebody said this cliche. I don't know who said it, but I'm beginning to love the quote. You know, people say we're all in the same boat. No, that's not really true, is it? But we are all in the same water. You know, we are all in the same water. And in fact, I have seen now at least 2 of my competitors file bankruptcy. I know of a few that are not able to get product from manufacturers because they haven't paid their bills. They can't pay their bills. And I am not dancing on their grave. I am not enjoying their difficulties one bit, because I am in the same hurricane. Fortunately, we're not at that point. You know, we're doing okay. Just want everybody to know we're doing okay, you know. But boy, you just have to look at that and say, how long until the tornado takes out my house? You know what I mean? So no, I'm not having any joy in the difficulties that my competitors are having right now. And I'm certainly having no joy in the difficulties my customers are having right now. So we're not in the same boat, but we're in the same storm, and we want to help you all get through it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Peter, do you have any closing words you'd like to add?
Sure. Now that I can see the background that Chasen Shaw has put in, I think he needs to change his last name from Shaw to the Dragon, Chasen the Dragon, because man, he's on something. So that's pretty awesome there, dude. It has been a thrill to get together with you guys and just see your faces and wave at you and realize that we're all going through this, and we will come out the other side. I think we need to put some solid effort into thinking of some group participation dances that can be done 6 feet apart. So we've got to brainstorm on that one and see what we can come up with. It's yes, Macarena works perfect. You just got to be 6 feet apart. So I think that'd be just fine. That's the only one that I know, because I don't have to move my feet, so I don't get tangled up. And I don't speak Spanish, but I'm pretty sure he's looking for something. Gets down to the back and goes, "Hey, where's my wallet?" I'm pretty sure that's what the song's about. But anyway, I could be totally wrong. But this has been great. Definitely survey your clients. Ask for their opinions. Nobody knows your value better than they do. I can't tell you how many DJs I had in my market when I was in Southern California, where $2,000, $3,000 weddings are supposedly growing on trees, or I had DJs that would say, "That's outrageous," when they found out what I charged. Well, they never hired me. People who hired me said they got more than they paid for, and a vast majority of them said they got way more than they paid for. I'd rather believe them than the DJs or even the wedding planners who tell me that I'm not worth it, because they're the ones who paid for my service and utilized my service all the way through, and then turned around and told their friends, "This is the person you got to call." So survey your clients, find out what they have to say, but especially during this downtime, hit them up for those reviews online. Start racking up some more 5-star reviews. Just make sure they're the 5-star reviews that have the comments that are about that long afterwards, raving about how incredible you were. And as long as we continue to build those up when people are ready to start buying again, then we're ready to turn on the spigot. My last thought, when you hit them up for those reviews, ask them if they know of anybody who got engaged who might be planning a wedding when all this craziness stops. Start building a lead list now of people you can contact to start filling that funnel. Because people are going to start booking weddings next year. They're going to start booking weddings by the end of this year. I just got a check today for a wedding for November 14th. Thank you, Ron, for the referral. So, this doesn't mean everything stops, but there's nothing wrong with asking for those referrals from the clients who've used us before. They want to see us succeed during this time too. So don't be afraid to ask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, I forgot the most important part of my presentation, which was if you truly want to wow, your customers will tell you how. You just have to be courageous enough to ask the difficult questions. That's all it takes. So with that, that's a great close, Ron. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for being here. I'm going to take a look at these chats. We'll take a look at what we can do next week to start addressing some of the things you guys want to talk about. And if you have any questions or if you just want somebody to talk to, thank you, Sue. If you have somebody you want to talk to, all you have to do is reach out. I'm here for you anytime. I'm happy to help you in any way I possibly can. And with that, thanks so much, y'all. We'll see everybody next week. So bye, everybody.